Okay, good evening once again. Okay, so this one is our first target is to have, or I'll give you the freedom of identifying some papers you want to P, and we will review each of the abstracts so that you have an idea of what the contents of the paper are. So let me stop the sharing the eye. And let's go to the Molly. Can add it to sa Molly ato ang assignment. Let me share how to share. So, share. How to share something. Okay. So, course. Okay. Sige. So, we have, gamay man siya eh. Sige lang. So that I can also test if ma-open ba ni siya or not. Okay, so I've identified 5 articles relevant to strategic or strategy of the organization. We have Article 1, which is a review of IS strategy, literature, current trends, and future opportunities. This one will guide you or give you an idea on what are the available research agenda for related to IS strategy. Second is business IT alignment as a co-evolution process. This is a good topic on alignment, and which is one of the topics that you can choose among other topics related to IS for thesis. A third one is designing a digital strategizing and assessing review definition of and research agenda. This is also will give you an idea of possible topic if you're planning to pursue strategy. Digital strategy. Although I'm aware that Marlo might have his own topic already in mind, and I'm not sure if he will still continue the undergraduate thesis. So he can ignore some of the topics of interest, but of course you need to take up one topic to be shared in the class for you to have experience or um, training yourself to read articles while you are still a student. Before you will dig into the actual research, conduct of research during your thesis. And also we have mapping ethical artificial intelligence policy landscape, a mixed method analysis. So of course, there are a lot of organizations now who require who adopted policy for the use of artificial intelligence, and that would be a good perspective on how the current policies has been formulated based on new technologies. And lastly, the role of ERP or enterprise information system strategies enabling strategy making on organizational innovativeness, and you can always adapt this one. And many of these articles are coming from really good journals, which will help you also set your standards of writing, and at least it will guide you on how supposed to be a good paper must be written. So let's start with the abstract of the first one. At least you have an idea before we will decide later kung what would be your choice journal na ipili. So the number one is just to number one concern is to identify lang which journal you want to take up based on its abstract. At least you have an idea and partial interest in the matter. If you want to choose that particular wait, nawala ako. If you want to choose that particular journal, you can raise your hand and inform me that you will be taking that article. I've already uploaded it in Molly, so you can always visit and verify. Wait, nawala lagi. Ang hakto na butang. So let's start with the first one. Nawala, hindi na ko kabalog asa siya pangitaon. Wala siya. Okay, naragay siya. It's a where is the PDF file? Yun naman hindi man ako makita diri eh. Entire screen. Window. Adara. Hmm, kadali na kanawala siya. I cannot locate the file that I'm opening. It's a tab file. So the first is a review of IS strategy. This is also a good input in our subject because our subject is related to policy and strategy. This one will, if you will be align yourself to the topic to be presented in this subject, this would be a good paper, which is a unfortunately, this is not very recent article, although its source is a very good journal. This is Journal of Computer Information System. So let's review the abstract. We examine the IS strategy literature since 2008. So remember 2008, so some of the papers might be old already. Using Chen, Macker, Preston, and Tubner's review as a starting point, that means it might be their method, we identified 31 IS strategy studies published since 2008. Further, we evaluated previous framework for evaluating IS research strategy. Using conception proposed by Chen, IS strategy as a competitive advantage, which is also our concept and may be changing as of now. IS um, IS functional strategy and strategic alignment. We identify overarching themes and propose there is increased activity bridging the conception, providing interesting opportunities for future research, directions for future research for individual conception as well as bridging conceptions are given. So this paper highlights the important as a graduate student, the important factor that you can consider on this paper if you choose this one is a possible suggestion of the direction of paper of strategy within the organization. So at least you have a reference on that. So that's the first article as featured as uploaded in our Molly page. And the second is actually taken is also the topic of one of my advice as of now under MSIT. Let's let's look at the tama ba niya akong gibuhat? This one is coming from the Journal of Strategic Information System and published 2023. And this is the topic of the current topic of tama, makita ba ninyo? Nakita ba na ninyo?
Yes, sir.
Ako lang yan. This is the current topic of Irvin Argente, which is an MSIT student. He has done the proposal already and is currently on the process of data gathering, but we haven't proceeded yet the actual data gathering. So we are talking here about business IT alignment, which is a phenomenon described here as a co-evolution process. So to give you an idea of what's the content of the paper, we will review the abstract. We provide a detailed insight into the complex co-evolution dynamics that shape the alignment process by analyzing how different mechanisms and factors are mutually related in complex networks of feedback loops. We combine insights from the literature on alignment as a co-evolution process or as a process with literature on alignment as a state to identify the different components of the organization's socio-technical systems that influence alignment, the relationships between these components, and the role that different factors play. In our empirical analysis, based on multiple case studies, so the method here is multiple case study, we then focus on the actual interplay between relevant factors using causal loop diagramming approach based on system dynamics. We analyze how these factors mutually influence each other through various feedback loops and thus shape the alignment process. We extend previous literature on alignment process by, this is the contribution, identifying the way that the complex interplay between different factors shape this process. By identifying the feedback loops between relevant factors, we also provide more insight into the complex bottom-up and top-down dynamics that shape the process, and that provide explanation for why this process is characterized by transitions between alignment and misalignment. For practice, our paper provides a deeper understanding of the alignment process, which is a precondition for improving alignment practices in the organization. I want to, so that you can also imagine how the alignment actually is being done. This paper introduces something, this is what the paper referring as feedback loops in governing alignment process. So you might want to explore this one. And the alignment is illustrated, the research question is illustrated by R1, R2, R3, and how the alignment has been examined in each of the levels of management, or the interaction between management and IT as a socio-technical system. So that's the business alignment. Actually, it only shows the changes between, there is alignment and misalignment between IT and process within the organization. This is what the paper is all about. Okay, so if you're interested in that, you can also use that paper. The third one is digital strategizing. This is related again to, of course, digitalization. And depending on you, you will be deciding which topic later. In fact, there is already a forum in, and then later we will agree on how will you decide, or maybe you can volunteer as of now which paper you are interested to review. So this one is digital strategizing, assessing review, definition, and research agenda. So since this is a research agenda paper, the advantage of this one is to only identify possible future risk, possible or slash future research that you can possibly conduct within your when you do your thesis. So let me give a summary. This paper provides an assessing review and agenda for research at the nexus between information systems and strategy practice. The review aims to understand the nature of this connection between the two areas, where IS scholars strive to understand the everyday work of practitioners and organizations and the impact of digital technologies in strategizing, while strategy practice scholars seek a greater understanding of such technologies and their use by strategists. Despite a developing body of work relevant to both information systems and strategy practice, and several editorials calling for synergy, we still collectively know little about the state of knowledge at the nexus, or the interaction of these two. To address this, our review identifies several constructs that provides linkages between information systems and strategy practice to reveal more about the current state of knowledge, and to develop a formal definition for a domain which we call digital strategizing. We conclude by outlining an agenda to encourage and accelerate future research on digital strategizing. So this is a different approach of formulating concepts within literature. So this is also an interesting paper. What is good with this paper is that it's recent, and you can have developed your own definition of future work on digital strategizing, and you can use this as a framework in analyzing various strategies used by the organization, especially when they introduce computers or digital resources to the organization. No, so this is only a paper deriving concepts by identifying practices and use existing concept to coin or to formalize certain words such as digital strategizing as an anchoring point among various terms used in information system and strategy in practice. So it's So if you're interested in formulating terms such as what I did something on my dissertation also, if you have that perspective or practice in mind, you can use this paper to utilize to illustrate your ideas on how to formulate a certain new concepts in practice. But this would be difficult part. What I want you to learn from this one is to use the term and understand some of the construct needs to be able to identify what is relevant in the organization in this stage. Okay, so the next the fourth paper is mapping artificial intelligence, because everything now is talking about artificial intelligence. So I was obliged to share a paper related to artificial intelligence also. And I think also this is appropriate in relation to formulating policies in the organization. And although we are not focused on policy, because as of now we are in the middle of the semester, that means we will be focusing on research perspectively. We forgo with the concepts and theories, but now looking at practice. But at this time, we are looking at various papers. So this one is mapping ethical AI policy landscape. So you can consider IIT later. As part of my slides, I shared to you the AI policy of IIT for your reference in practice, how actually policy is being formulated. So we have this one is, as more national government adopt policies addressing the ethical implications of AI, a comparative analysis of policy documents on these topics can provide valuable insights into emerging concerns and areas of shared importance. No, if you can imagine, this one is actually studying secondary documents obtained from various organizations. This study critically examined 57 policy documents pertaining to ethical AI, originating from 24 distinct countries. This is a typical research where you will be sitting in your table and review some papers and minimal use of field work. And this is also good for those who don't want to expose themselves to a lot of interviews later. So employing a combination of computational text mining methods and qualitative content analysis. So that means they are using text mining to identify the frequency maybe of the terms used and consider this as an important aspect. The primary objective is to methodically identify common themes throughout these policy documents and perform a comparative analysis of the ways in which various governments give priority to crucial matters. A total of 19 topics were initially retrieved. Through an iterative coding process, 6 overarching themes were identified: principles, the protection of personal data, governmental rules and responsibilities, procedural guidelines, governance and monitoring mechanisms, and epistemological considerations. Furthermore, the research revealed 31 ethical dilemmas pertaining to AI that had been overlooked previously but are now emerging. These dilemmas have been referred to in different extents throughout the policy documents. This research makes a scholarly contribution to the expanding field of technology policy formulation at the national level by analyzing similarities and differences among countries. Furthermore, this analysis has practical ramifications for policymakers who are attempting to comprehend prevailing trends and potential neglected domains that demand focus in the ever-evolving field of AI. So this is also one of the interesting papers related to policy landscape, particularly focused on new technologies such as AI. No? So last, this is an old article, I think. The last one. Last. Then we will decide. Or at least you can raise your hand if you want to choose the topic. Wait, did I open it? Okay. The last one would be, wait, where is the last one? Is the role bias. This is coming from, this is a different, coming from a different journal, which is organized in not, not usually organized in a typical journal that I'm used to read. And, but this is simpler to wait, and I'll share para the paper, di ko pala na-share. So, paper, this one. So the paper is all about role of enterprise as strategies enabled strategy making on organizational innovativeness, a resource orchestration perspective. This is heavy on theory because it uses resource-based theory, which is a good input for many of you, especially if you are facing with limited resources and how you prioritize other aspects of the organization. So this one is coming from a different journal, not Science Direct compared to the other. And this is also a 2022 paper, so quite recent in terms of research. So you can still use this as a reference. So it's organized, the abstract is actually organized into the objectives or purpose, the method, findings, the implications, and originality or the contribution. No, so if we will check this one, the paper aims to establish the role of enterprise IS strategies enabled by business strategies for attaining organizational innovativeness mediated by performance, which is decision making and business processes under environmental turbulence. So, uh, so at least this one, you can um, examine another style of strategy that the organization might be implemented, and how resources as how to orchestrate various resources to achieve the purpose of the organization. So the method here, the research framework is developed based on theoretical grounding and validated with the help of 408 responses from Brazil using smart PLS path modeling. So this is highly quantitative research. And the result of the research suggests that resource orchestra of enterprise IS strategy enabled strategy making can be a viable alternative to enhance innovative activities in the organization through the mediated role of performance, which is decision making and business process, which is somehow partly the forte of IS. So the research demonstrate the role of business function or the IS as the IS strategy enabled overall business strategy making for achieving innovations in the organization. Fortune organizations are exploiting the IS strategy enabled business strategy for innovations in the organization such as Amazon, Walmart, and Costco. And the proposed unvalidated model, which is formulated through SMART PLS, is a contribution to enterprise IS strategy theory. And this model presents the role of resource orchestra in achieving innovations in the organization. If you will choose this paper, you may not need to focus on the statistics that has been conducted or the proof that something at the relevance of the construct, but focus on the explanation of the model and how the different concepts has been chosen to be tested through smart PLS. The other one are almost similar, and basically they are anchored in qualitative research. Okay, so if you want to check the list, you can check. You can go to the Molly and check the newly enabled or shown topics, which is research article for review, which is the recent. I think lang naman nga na upload. I haven't uploaded new items on in our Molly, so it's presented there, and now we will start to decide which paper. Let me stop presenting this one. The paper of your choice. Um, you, I don't want to write the title here, the title of the paper, but while reading the abstract, I hope that you have initially identified interesting papers that might be assigned to you for reading. So anyone can remember any topic na he wants to be included, and of your choice. Ma'am Arwina Abarca choose article number 1, which is, let me check the Molly. The article number 1 is a review of IS strategy literature. So this is a simple article, but very helpful in terms of, so article 1 will be, any other choice? At least Ma'am Arwina has may assignment. You are, I think there's another 2, no? Any other article that you want to? Irish. Can you decide now the article that will be assigned to you? And another option is to, in our Molly course, there is what we call a forum. Put a decision of your article choice. And for that, the basis for this one, or the priority in terms of choosing your own or decide which paper will be interesting to you would be this meeting, and later we will, you can comment if you will not identify the paper that you're interested in this during the meeting or discussion. Marlo is number 3. Ring token is number 3. Nga, hindi mo maningo. Nag-chat lang mo tanan. Arnil is number 4. Okay, I'll take note of this one so that everyone will be aware of the assignment. I will try to post this one. If I forget, you can also comment directly this assignment in our Molly course. Okay, so before we will go, I'd like to share some aspects of IS policy formulation, and provide examples based on IIT and what are the policies that many of the organization has not been formulated but is mandated by law, and the reference that you can go to if you want to check what is to be expected of various government organization in terms of a relation to compliance. Okay, so I'll check on Irish later. What's your preferred paper assignment, article assignment? So these are all about definitions. So we'll go through each of the items, but you may raise your hand if you want to add some of the questions. But this is not, this is a generic definition of policy, and what is important later is we will evaluate the criteria or characteristics of policy in relation to the actual policy that we will be evaluating, which is the AI policy. It's a principle or rule to guide decisions and achieve rational outcomes. So when we say policy, we are referring here many of the documents or guide or knowledge of a documented process within the organization. And it is a statement of intent and is implemented as a procedure or protocol. Even the faculty handbook or the student handbook can be considered classified as policy, internal policy of the organization. And it is a statement that provides for decision-making by the members of the organization charged with the responsibility of operating the organization as a systems with the purpose of attaining the established objectives of the organization. It contains the what and why needs to be done in each of the aspects where the policy is created, and hopefully supposed to be, it will guide proper use and guide decision making in the organization. So many, for example, of the policy that has formulated before is not all about related to ICT, but many of the related ICT concerns of the organization as of now has not as no policy or the ad hoc has been followed by the organization instead of a formal document or a reference for employees. Um, the policy formulation, of course, it's not necessarily coming in some, it's not a magic type of document that will come out of the organization, but it undergoes process within the org, which is typical includes an attempt to assess as many areas of potential policy impact as possible in order to lessen the chances that a given policy will have unexpected or unintended consequences. For example, for privacy policy of the organization, tama ba ko? We need to have an impact assessment as a requirement as basis for formulating the policy of the privacy policy of the organization. So it's advised that you have a privacy impact assessment, PIA, to be able to identify which items are important to the organization and must be placed within the policy since it has more impact among others or it's riskier compared to other aspects in terms of privacy. It involves the crafting of alternatives or options for dealing with a problem. May also refer to the process of making important organizational decisions. So this is a very vague formulation of policy and organization may adapt and it might be formulated as an informal way instead of the formal one, but somehow a committee or a group of people or team must be called on and representing various stakeholders of the organization to be able to brainstorm what is to be included. But for example, in privacy policy, sometimes uh, 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 impact assessment or the assessment of the current situation is, although the process later will be shared in the last slide. So why policy and procedure? Because it will ensure a safe, organized, and maybe warm, friendly, hospitable, empower, non-discriminatory workplace. And the opposite would be if you don't have any policy, it might be a problem within the organization and biases may exist because no policy has been formulated. And this will guide many of the movement of the organization and even promotion and outlook of the employees within the work. So the policy is necessary to comply with government policies and laws and establish consistent work standard rules and regulation and provide consistent and fair treatment for employees. Because in government, many of the rules has been set by civil service, although there might be internal policies within the organization, but we are complying with government as a first basis of our internal policy. The function of policy consistency, it also serves as a tool for quality improvement. And this, I'm interested with this one, predictable behavior. Policies provides an important method of letting personnel know what is expected of them and thereby increasing predictability of the desired behavior. Okay, let me scan this one. Policies promote delegation making to the level in the management hierarchy when facing the problem when it arises. And policies reduce communication relating to routines decision making, because you have already a reference that can guide you in your actions and decisions, especially on the task assigned to you. For example, in IIT, a very good formulation of various board of resolutions and compilation of it will really help us decision makers and guide us in our steps or process in doing our task or in formulating decisions to cases that we've encountered. And also coordination, the organization of the different elements of a complex body of activity as to enable them to work together effectively. For example, know a limit or maybe since many of the departments or functional areas of the organization may have some conflicting tasks, it would make clear who has the mandate of doing some task based on policy. So these are the characteristics that we need to identify if it's present or the existing policy is actually evident of these characteristics. Number one is clear and simple. Assumptions are clear and explicit, and this one, and unfortunately, the evaluation of this one depends on the context of which of the organization. And there might be clear, the policy might be clear to some of the functional areas of the organization, but others might misinterpret or understand differently based on the statement. What is good is that you will communicate this um, statement or policy before it will be directly implemented. So there is linkage to organizational direction. Example, in our faculty handbook, we have the fellowship or support for study of our faculty members. So the direction is to develop our faculty members. So it's already included in the policy. And in that particular policy, we are encouraging, for example, faculty members to study abroad in our new policy, or studies in school at par or better than IIT. So it also indicates the organizational direction of the organization. And hopefully it's both efficient and effective, although in reality, many of the policies derived from processes actually might be interpreted as hindrance to some of the efficient process of the organization, but we are looking at the other side, such as documentation as a basis. Then clearly indicates the condition to whom and to what extent it applies. Outcomes are stated clearly. It has been appropriately funded and supported by resources. This is the reason also why the second example of the requirements of compliance to policy of the government has not been realized because of the resources or support of government agencies, so that other agencies can also comply and it is enforceable. No, you can enforce some of the policies, but if you realize later there are policies that is problematic to implement because the context or the situation of the organization is not applicable. So to formalize the entire process here, we can start with identify, formulate, adopt, implement, distribute, control, review, and evaluate. And the process is a cycle in policy formulation for improvement. So we can examine, for example, how the policy example has been. Let me check this one. What's the content of the policy as an example, because you can realize more on the example rather than on what has been written already. So let me share again. For example, this one. So this is the MSU on fair and ethical use of AI. So if we will review, we can identify what are the components. The first part is actually on the explanatory note, no? This one. And what is important here is that the last part, it may read, to date, no specific law is solely dedicated to regulating AI, although lawmakers have introduced bills concerning AI technology. Until these are passed or enacted, legal matters relating to AI use may need to be addressed using existing laws such as privacy or intellectual property. Hence, while it is true that there are still no laws regarding AI use in the country, having a policy on the use of AI tools and technology in place is critical for universities like MSU for the following reason, among others. Ethical concerns. So because it's also a common conversation at that time, MSU needs to have a policy that identifies accountable parties in the use of AI systems. No, and the second part is facilitating academic dishonesty, which is the common also comments of other faculty members. And here we can say the purpose the proposed policy could ensure that AI tools are accessible to students, including those with disabilities. So meaning we are also looking at um, um, access to technology. So if you examine this one, that the first part, let me check if the first part actually introduces already the the ethical principles guiding the formulation of AI. This is normally the content of the policy normally is anchored on a certain factors or framework where the policy is being based on. So on this part, for example, we have the principles, the ethical principles guiding the formulation, which is also expressed on the first part on before the formal policy. No example, this one it's already stated somewhere on the basis of the policy. So if we look at, of course, the title, this is not because IIT is a government agency. This seems to have a format on formulating or expressing some of the policy. But yeah, it's a common also expression. It's a common writing template for many of the policy. As you observe in the example, in the statement, for example, the slides, no such thing as like this. But if you will check on the various sections, you will say that it focused first on it normally explicitly stated the scope, the purpose, and this one, the definition of terms. And any government policy documents, you can look at the definition of terms to be clear to to the readers. Here, for example, so how did we came up with this one? We refer to other ethical principles used in formulating the AI. So we have the idea of transparency, fairness and equity, privacy and data protection, accountability, and then research pedagogical integrity, which is related to education. So using those um, principles, we derive some of the guidelines for um, the second part here. The use of AI research and creative work is guided by example transparency that the students or you will report what has been coming from the technology and what has been coming from you, and to practice also fairness and equity. So meaning we formulate first the guiding principle on what we can do in relation to artificial intelligence. Then the next part is a specific item in the use of AI in research and creative work. It's a focus on a particular aspects, which is research or formulating creative work, and it's still anchored on these principles. No, when you check each of the item, and the basis is actually the principles. And the concern is, for example, how we can identify that section is data privacy. The other one is oversight, transparency, and attribution. These items or sections is actually formulated based on practices of the university, as well as referring to other existing AI policy. No, so that will be guided also what other universities. So we are basically, the process is benchmarked with others, and of course your guiding principles in formulation of the policy. Yeah. So the use of AI in teaching and learning. So if you can look at this one, we have, this is all about development, the use of AI for research or creative work. And the second part is, since we are an educational institution, we look at the use of AI. So if we check, these are all process, no? Because we are an educational institution, we are looking at the basic core functions of the organization, which is teaching and learning. And the last one is the other one is responsible AI development. So the first one, if we look at the first one, or after the ethical principles, We have the research and creative work. So this is more on writing and reporting. The next is teaching and learning, the AI development, then some of issues related to that, then accessibility and inclusivity. And the monitoring and compliance is actually a common section also for policies. Training and awareness, then implementation of the other policy update to final provisions and other items. No? So what is, if we will go back to the earlier slides on what are the characteristics, clear and simple, assumptions are clear and explicit, meaning it's stated clearly there. Then the linkage to organizational direction, especially on, for example, if we will analyze the linkage to organization, is that the perspective of IIT on the use of artificial intelligence rather than prohibiting it, but it only stated the use of research. So that means we will not limit faculty members on not using AI, and also use of AI in teaching, what are the limitations involved, and the responsible use of the one who will develop maybe of AI. For example, bias mitigation, we are not saying that we will avoid, um, eliminate biases, but mitigate biases based on our models if possible. No. So this is one example of emerging technologies that organization must address through policy. No example. Another example is the use of social media and the organization. So these are one concern. And if you are a private organization, you may not need to formulate as detailed and as formal as this one. As long as you have some document in a form of memo, it can be implemented as a policy in the organization, not necessarily as a formal document such as this one. So it can be in a form of a memorandum and later will be adopted as a policy if it's a compiled one, but it's already in another, can be considered a policy in memorandum form. No, so these are technologies that that modern or organizations as of now must adapt through policy. Then we'll examine the other one on the slide. I'll not display on, but if we will look at the DICT policy, there are a lot of policy. One that you might be checking is the DICT Memorandum Circular. These are items that government organizations must examine if they are really compliant with what has been tama ba yung share ko? Yes, this one. So this one is an example of, tama ba? Ano yung lumabas sa inyo? 005, Memorandum 005. And where is the Memorandum Circular 005? Oh, so this is another tab. This one, tama na? So this is an example of IT requirement of the ICT, but not we have a questionable status as of now if we are compliant or not. So for example, this is Memorandum Circular 005. This is prescribing the policies, rules, and regulations on the protection of critical infrastructure stipulated in the National Cybersecurity Plan. So why we are discussing part policy as related to strategy of the organization. But here we are looking at government issuances that needs to be complied with by other agencies. So for example, this one, and in a form really of policy formulation, the rules, the issuance is through memorandum circular, and the organization must implement it through formulation of policy. We'll go directly on the first general policy, adoption of ISO family of standards and other relevant international standards for mandatory compliance, meaning the reference of the organization in formulating policy, at least you are be guided. And one item here is conduct of annual risk and vulnerability assessment. I'm not sure if some of the organizations are actually doing this or if they have a policy or guide in conducting risk assessment or vulnerability assessment. Next is the conduct of security assessment. No, I'm not sure. Only Ma'am Arwina is the only, I think I know, that working in the government, for example. But these are all policy related requirements of the government. Creation of the CERT, for example. No? No. This is a requirement also of government that I'm not sure if what happened. Let me check the other. Seal of policy, I'm not sure. And to give you an idea, this is Memorandum Circular number 005. No? And there's also 006, a continuation of the various government issuances that organization may need to comply with. That's the reason that you need to have an idea on how to formulate some internal guide within organization to be able also to comply with some of the government issuances related to compliance in related to ICT related policy of the organization. No? Okay, I got it. Irish, you have number 2. What happened to this one? Article 2. Let me input it in my slide. Irish, this is Humber. Okay, the next concern, since you are here pa, let me ask when will be our presentation of or submission of a presentation of your paper. Ay, no, by the way, let me share pala the, how will you present the article? Wait. Okay, let me share an outline of a case study. This is maybe some of you are familiar with this one because I've already shared this one in my previous class. So once you've read the paper, supposed to be you have read the article last week during the online week. That's why we don't have a class. Was supposed to be this, but since I was not able to share, I'll give you this week to read the article. And I'm sure if you will tell me as of now that you cannot read the entire article, what is important, what are the important items to be considered is what would I actually I enumerated in the email in reality the required items to focus on while preparing your slides. So when you present, you don't need to discuss the details of the article, although I'm advising you to read the entire paper, but focus on items that I've stated in my earlier email. So what are the items? Let me scan through this one. So of course you have a title page. Just ignore some basic concept as part of the introduction, in which areas those topic would be related into. So for example, this is an adoption study, so I emphasize on the adoption as part of the introduction. No? And second is purpose objective research question. These are 3 similar items that you can put in your slides. This is related to look at the research question, the objective, or what else? What are the other objective, purpose, or research question within your paper so that you can explicitly, and so meaning your slides would be partly introduction, which will take up what are the topics connected or important topics connected to the paper or to the article assigned to you. Then identify the research question, objective, or purpose of the article. No? Clear ba na siya? Directly look for research. After identifying some of the basic introduction of the paper, you need to identify the purpose, objective, or research question. After that, identify the methods used to verify the purpose or the objective. Now, how it will be conducted, that would be the method part. And go directly to important part. Don't forget on the methods are the sources of data. That is what's the sources of data as basis for formulating their findings or their decision making. Of course, included there the data analysis, then the result, no, and the recommendations. So there are a lot of discussion here, but the important thing is the recommendations for future research will be included since you are still in your researching for possible topics. No? And lastly, I want you to conduct something like this or formulate one or two arguments of the paper. I think clear man to siya. Is it clear to you? So meaning while you're reading, you will be conscious of those items to be included in the presentation. How long would be the presentation? 15 minutes is enough for sharing of the article, 15 to 30 minutes. No, just to introduce the topic and identify items. After the 15 minutes presentation, expect a discussion of your topic among your classmates and with me to something like a conceptualize and how it will connect with our course. No. Any questions? If you want to the details of the paper, it's included in the research article for review in the MOLI course. So starting tonight, you need to read the paper assignment because it takes a lot of time actually to read the paper, and you cannot easily. And if you're not used to reading articles, it might require more than twice in reading the entire article before you can formulate main arguments and identify specific sections of this already pre-identified, but to connect the various aspects that I'm looking for in the article. Now, and maybe Arnel and hopefully Marlo is already used to this type of requirements because they are already this is not the first time that they've enrolled the subject. So I hope that you don't have a lot of challenges in reading articles. And of course, Irish and Arwina, you might consult me from time to time in terms of preparation of slides and asking some of the important topics that you might include in the presentation if you're not confident enough during the presentation. And I'm requiring you to upload some of the items except for the two which doesn't participate during the synchronous discussion. The content, I will require you to upload the presentation before we start the actual presentation. You please avoid a lot of videos, for example, recorded videos. Although you can also record your presentation and share it in the class and just be part and go live for discussion on your topic. Any questions so far? Yes, Arwina, Ma'am Arwina.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
When, sir, yung start ng presentation at next meeting na po?
If you want, next meeting would be a good start because we have konti na lang yung time natin. We might need 2 or 3 meetings to discuss these items, although the other meeting you might not be involved because I will arrange a schedule for the other 2. Kasi
Okay.
ito yung nangyari sa person to right. Diris ako sa inyo, then I'll transfer to the other 2 consultation. We have a week, I think, that we consulted only me. They are the 2. So they have a separate schedule for the presentation. But if you are prepared on the 13th, much better, and at least we have an example as basis. And I want you to upload your presentation even if you are not assigned yet to present on the 13th. If one student will start sharing the presentation by the November 13, that means everyone must required to submit their presentation. Otherwise, you have some deductions, small deductions, if you will not upload your PowerPoint on time, because it's part of the grade, the PowerPoint and the deadline. Okay, then remind you, I think I received only 2 submissions on the case of evaluating strategic plan of MSU IIT. And it's not yet complete. And by mid-November, anyway, I'll give you the which items you will be graded so that you'll be aware of what are the lacking requirements before the end of November, para hindi naman kayo mabigla what happened to your grade. Although I'm not planning to give you lower grades because especially that our schedule is very complicated, no? Including the Monday, ang malas ng Monday because laging holiday, no? This is another announcement, advance announcement. We will meet by 13, then I'll be out by 20, then we'll back by 27. Yun pala yung arrangement. Pero pwede naman online, no, depending on the status. But by definitely, I'm on travel by 20, by November 20. Okay, any other questions? Wala na. So I hope that the assignment, the paper assignment is clear. You might spend more time for some to prepare for the presentation. If it's not possible by 13, you will present 27 and 4. We will already arrange for preparation for your final examination. No, and I'll start to compile again the reference para at least you can use the notes during the final. Then part of the questions is actually derived from the research papers. Of course, the PowerPoint slides, I'll print it during the exam, but I'm afraid I cannot produce the number of copies required for each of you. So you might share notes or you can photocopy before the exam. Anyway, it's 1 month pa yan after. Okay? Any other questions? If none, that's it for tonight. I hope that you will start reading so that you can consult me anytime before you finalize the presentation. Okay? That's it. Good night, everyone. Stop recording.